Okay, so I filled in all of my midtones now using the HB pencil and just doing tiny dots. Notice I've left the highlight space white. That's where the light source hits the sphere and makes a bright spot. That's a highlight, so I'm going to label it highlight. Okay, and I have all of my midtones around the highlight and throughout the sphere, so I'm going to label those as well. For stippling, we do not use the blending stump, so don't use it. Okay, and because our light source is different this time, that's why our highlight is in a different place. It should be at the top of your sphere because that's where your light source was. So now I'm going to switch to my darker pencil and I'm going to create the core of shadow. Remember, the core of shadow is this crescent moon shape, and it goes right along here. I'm not drawing it in, I'm just kind of showing you where it will be. Okay? Now I'm going to use my darker pencil and just make dots. Remember to leave a little bit of space towards the bottom to show where that reflected light is going to be. You can see I leave the reflected light, a little bit of space for the reflected light, which also follows the shape of the form. Okay, and I'll just keep doing this until I create the entire core of shadow. Okay. And I am making little tiny dots. I'm not doing like dashes or anything. You remember, you could do those little letter D's if you wanted. So I'm doing little bitty dots, following the shape of the form, and leaving a little bit of that space open for my reflected light, using my darker pencil. I'm going to take some of these darker dots as well, and I'm going to make them just a few throughout the midtones as well, so that it blends a little bit better. I don't want it to be just like, see how it suddenly changes here. Suddenly it's like a midtone and now it's suddenly dark. We don't want that. We want it to actually gradually change. So you can see I'm starting to do that out here by just adding a few little dots to it, just to kind of blend that together a little bit better and make it more rounded and three-dimensional looking. Might even go and add some with my darker pencil up there just to kind of round the form out a little more. And stippling is a really cool technique that it is a lot of work, but it gives you an opportunity to create a different look that you can't create using any other shading method. It's just a whole different aesthetic, so that's really makes it interesting and different from everything else. Like if we were entering a contest and everybody had shaded horses, but yours was stippled instead of blended, you're going to get more attention because it's just a different technique, and it's not, you know, something that people are so used to seeing that they've grown tired of it. It's a little more unusual. And of course, all of these value techniques that we've learned can be used together in the same piece of artwork to create something really nice and unique. They don't have to always be used separately like what we've been doing. Okay, so this side you can see is starting to be blended. This side I have the core of shadow in, but it is not quite blended yet. I'm just going to add a few more dots throughout the midtones with my darker pencil to kind of get those to blend up. If you feel like you've made a section too dark, you can press with your eraser. Don't rub, you'll ruin all your work. Just press. And that will lighten it a little bit until it looks more like what you wanted. For this, you want to be using the 6B or the ebony. The 4B will be a little bit difficult to do this, so if you only have the 4B pencil as your dark pencil at your table, see if you can get a friend to share with you, or come to me and I will trade you pencils. Although 4B will work, it'll be a little bit easier to do with 6B or ebony. Alright, and that's what it'll look like when it's pretty much almost finished. I'm going to work on it a little bit more because you can see I have this empty space here. And although that is our reflected light, I don't want it to be empty. It's not going to be brighter than the highlight. So I'm taking my light pencil, my HB or my H, and I'm doing little bitty, super light dots along this edge to first soften that outline and to make it not quite so bright. Okay, now I'm done. I can label them. So this is core of shadow. That's our reflected light. And this is our cast shadow. I don't know how that one didn't get labeled, but it is getting labeled now. Alright, so that's that. Let's get to work.